When people lose power over you, they use words as weapons. Imagine you are standing in a crowded room, maybe at your workplace or a family gathering, and someone hurls a sharp, stinging insult directly at you. Instantly, your heart rate spikes, your face flushes hot, your brain screams for a clever comeback, a way to hurt them exactly as much as they just hurt you. But here is the harsh truth: the moment you lose your temper, you have handed the leash of your mind directly to your enemy. You have given them the remote control to your own emotions. Some people live to argue, provoke, and manipulate you with their words, hoping to steal your calm, your confidence, and your peace. But why do they do it? The secret they do not want you to know is that they attack you because they are entirely unable to control themselves. They are desperately trying to drag you into their storm to mask their own weakness. This brings us to a powerful psychological concept known as the false mirror. When someone insults you, they are not describing you at all. They are making a loud, uncomfortable confession about their own internal chaos. They are holding up a mirror, but they are not showing you your reflection. They are showing you their own insecurities, their envy, and their unresolved pain. 2,000 years ago, the Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught that it is not the words themselves that are offensive to you, but your own judgment of those words. He compared insults to empty echoes, which are completely worthless and powerless until you actually stop to pay attention to them. Think about it realistically. If a 3-year-old child calls you a failure, you just laugh because you know they do not even understand the word. Why then do you give that exact same weight to the random words of an angry coworker, a bitter stranger, or a toxic friend? To a Stoic mind, anyone who is governed by impulsive anger or malice is effectively a toddler, and their opinion has no more real weight than the chirping of a bird outside your window. The psychological pain of an insult only becomes real when you silently agree with it, when you tell yourself it is terrible that they think poorly of you. If you instead tell yourself that this person simply holds an opinion that does not align with objective reality, the pain never arrives. You are a rational will. Your mind is your ultimate fortress. No one has the authority to make you feel inferior, and no one can force their way into your mental fortress unless you willingly open the heavy gates from the inside by reacting. When you finally realize that their disrespect is merely a projection of their own struggles and not a true reflection of your personal worth, their weapons are instantly neutralized. Now that you understand the psychological game being played, how exactly do you respond when the verbal attack comes? You do not fight fire with fire. Instead, you use psychological judo. You use their own aggressive momentum to throw them completely off balance. Let us look at 3 practical weapons you can deploy immediately the next time you face disrespect. The first weapon is what we can call deadly curiosity. When someone insults your intelligence or mocks your work, your natural instinct is to defend your reputation. Do not do it. Instead, look them directly in the eyes. Pause for a second and calmly say, "Interesting. Tell me more." Suddenly, the power dynamic is entirely flipped. You are no longer the defensive target. You are the clinical observer. You are inviting them to explain their irrational behavior. Most people who insult others rely on shock value and quick reactions. By leaning in with cold, detached curiosity, you force them to justify their petty attack. And usually, they will stumble, backtrack, or expose their true, envious motives. The second weapon is the cold agreement. Imagine you are at a corporate meeting, and a rival colleague tells you in front of everyone that your presentation is terrible and that you clearly do not understand the market. The reactive mind wants to argue, raise its voice, and provide a desperate list of credentials. The Stoic mind simply nods slowly and says, "You might be right." This response is devastatingly effective. Why? Because the aggressor was expecting a fierce battle. They wanted to trigger your ego. When you refuse to be triggered and simply agree with the possibility of their statement without a single ounce of emotional attachment, you create a massive void. They have no wall to push against. You completely deprive them of the emotional reaction they desperately crave. You are not actually agreeing that you are incompetent. You are demonstrating that your ego is so bulletproof that it is utterly untouched by their subjective opinion. The third weapon is the most crushing of all tactical silence. When someone launches a loud verbal assault, they are begging for engagement. Stop. Look them dead in the eye. Count slowly to 3 in your head, and do not say a single word. Then, turn your attention back to whatever you were doing as if they do not exist. This silence is incredibly loud. It communicates that their words did not even register as a meaningful threat. It is a silent declaration that they are not in your category. A reaction tells your enemy that they have power over you. Silence tells them they are completely irrelevant. In a modern world addicted to outrage, endless debates, and social media shouting matches, refusing to participate is the ultimate display of dominance. It is not passive cowardice. It is active, intentional, and unbreakable control over your own mind. Once you have neutralized their attack with curiosity, agreement, or tactical silence, you might still feel a sudden surge of adrenaline in your veins. What do you do with that lingering emotional energy? You transform it. This brings us to the most profound phase of dealing with disrespect, which is the transformation of insults into raw data. When someone throws a verbal punch at you, they expect you to catch it with your ego. Instead, you are going to catch it with your logic. The Stoics had a brilliant framework for this exact moment. While you are remaining silent and looking at them, you do not just freeze. You perform a lightning-fast internal assessment. You ask yourself one simple question: is what this person saying true? If someone criticizes your work, your habits, or your character, and there is actual truth to their harsh words, then it is no longer an insult. It is feedback. It is free advice delivered poorly. You take the useful information. You apply it to improve yourself, and you simply discard their emotional delivery. On the other hand, if you assess their words and realize they are entirely false, then it is a lie. And a lie is strictly the problem of the liar, not the person being lied about. Why should you ever carry the heavy psychological weight of someone else's delusion by filtering their words through this logical process? You strip away their power to hurt you. You turn their poison into your fuel. But the ultimate transformation goes even deeper than mental reframing. It is about how you choose to conduct yourself immediately after the encounter. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius faced betrayal, mockery, and disrespect from his own inner circle. Yet he maintained his absolute authority by living by a single, unbreakable rule. He wrote that the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. If your attacker is petty, you be magnanimous. If they are loud and chaotic, you be quiet and composed. If they try to drag you into the mud, you stand firmly on the high ground. You see, the reactive mind believes that power is showing dominance by shouting louder or crafting a sharper comeback. But the rational mind knows that stooping to their level validates their toxic behavior. The moment you trade an insult for an insult, you have become their twin. You have let their sickness infect your health. The true revenge of excellence is letting your actions speak so loudly that their words are rendered completely pathetic. You focus entirely on your own growth, your own character, and your own path. You build a life of such undeniable quality and purpose that the petty criticisms of others bounce off your reputation like tiny pebbles thrown against a massive steel wall. When you have built that massive steel wall of character, you arrive at the final and most liberating stage of this journey, mastering the game through quiet power. Society has conditioned us to believe that power means dominating a room, having the loudest voice, or crafting the sharpest and most humiliating comeback to destroy the person who disrespected us. But that is the illusion of the weak. True authority is not the ability to crush your enemies. It is the absolute ability to remain completely indifferent to their desperate attempts to crush you. Think about the most powerful and respected individuals in human history. Do they get into petty shouting matches? Do they lose sleep because a toxic coworker or an insecure relative made a sarcastic comment? Absolutely not. They operate with a quiet, terrifying composure. They do not have to tell you they have authority. They show it by how incredibly unaffected they are by the opinions of the common critic. When you finally reach a point where your self-worth is deeply rooted in the things you can actually control, such as your own discipline, your own integrity, and your own daily choices, rather than the unpredictable and chaotic opinions of other people, you become virtually invincible. You are no longer playing by their rules. You have taken back the leash of your own mind. You must remember the metaphor of the psychological fortress. Your mind is an impenetrable fortress. Toxic people can stand outside and throw stones, shout insults, and hurl negativity at your walls all day and all night. But they can never bring the fortress down unless you willingly open the gates from the inside. Your anger, your defensiveness, and your desperate need for their validation are the exact mechanisms that unlock those heavy iron gates. You must keep them tightly shut. Decide right here and right now that no one, regardless of their financial status, their professional title, or their aggressive volume, has the authority to change your mood without your direct and willing consent. If they insult you, it is simply because they cannot control you. And that realization alone is enough to shift all the power permanently to your side. You do not need to fight to win. You win by simply refusing to participate in their emotional chaos. The next time you face disrespect, let them exhaust themselves against your unbreakable silence. Let them drown in their own storm while you stand firmly on solid ground. The ultimate victory is not to hurt them back, but to live a life so focused, so excellent, and so deeply peaceful that their words become nothing more than a passing breeze. In a world that is hopelessly addicted to outrage, endless debates, and petty noise, your quiet composure is not a sign of weakness. Master yourself first, and the world will naturally respond to your strength. Your calm is your ultimate weapon. To truly master this quiet power and make your mental fortress completely unshakable, you must take one final and crucial step. You must entirely let go of the human need for external validation. From a very young age, society conditions us to seek approval. We are consistently taught to measure our personal worth by the compliments we receive, the professional titles we hold, and the level of respect that other people show us. But the great Stoic philosophers deeply understood that whenever you rely on another person to validate your existence, you are actively handing them the master key to your mind. When you desperately demand that toxic people respect you, you are secretly admitting that their subjective opinion of you is somehow more important than your own objective opinion of yourself. Imagine for a moment that you are holding a massive, flawless diamond. That diamond possesses absolute, intrinsic value. It does not lose a single ounce of its worth simply because a foolish person walking by mistakes it for a worthless piece of common glass. The exact same principle applies directly to your character and your life. The sudden disrespect of a jealous colleague, a manipulative family member, or an angry stranger does not diminish your actual value in the slightest degree. Their complete inability to see your worth is their own psychological limitation, and it is certainly not yours. When you fully internalize this undeniable truth, a profound personal transformation occurs. You immediately stop performing for the approval of an audience that does not genuinely care about your well-being. You stop carrying the incredibly heavy suitcase of other people's uneducated opinions. This realization brings us to the ultimate Stoic strategy, which is the intentional act of forgiving and releasing the offender. Forgiving them does not mean that you excuse their toxic behavior or that you allow them to continue disrespecting your personal boundaries. It simply means that you absolutely refuse to carry their chaotic energy into your own future. The Roman philosopher Seneca wrote that anger is frequently more hurtful to us than the actual injury that provokes it. When you continuously replay an insult in your head, constantly thinking of the perfect clever comeback you should have said, you are actively allowing your attacker to live rent-free in your mind long after the physical event has ended. You must forcefully evict them. You must put down the heavy stone of resentment and simply walk away. By letting go of the anger, you are not doing them a favor. You are performing the ultimate act of self-liberation. You are taking back your precious time, your intense focus, and your vital energy so that you can build a life of massive excellence. The next time someone attempts to tear you down with their carefully chosen words, you will just smile at the pathetic attempt. You will recognize it for what it truly is, which is a desperate cry for control from someone who has absolutely no control over themselves. Stay completely silent. Stay firmly grounded in your own rational reality. Choose your own independent path. Protect your inner peace at all costs, and leave them permanently behind in the noise. You are now entirely free. Now that you are entirely free from the heavy burden of their opinions, you will notice a profound shift in how you view the world around you. You have entered a new realm of personal authority where the petty games of human ego simply do not apply to you anymore. When someone tries to insult your intelligence or mock your ambition, they are essentially inviting you to a childish wrestling match. They want you to step into the ring, get dirty, and fight them for a completely meaningless prize. But you are going to use a brilliant Stoic strategy that completely shuts down this toxic invitation. You are going to mentally, and sometimes verbally, declare that you do not compete in that category. Think about what this actually means. When an insecure person attacks you, they do so because they are measuring their own worth against yours, and they feel desperately lacking. They need you to engage with them so they can feel significant, but by refusing to defend your reputation, you send a clear and devastating message. You tell them that your vitality, your intense focus, and your intellect are not up for grabs in their trivial competitions. You are simply not running in their race. Imagine a hostile colleague making a sarcastic comment about your latest project, hoping to spark a heated and dramatic argument. The old you might have launched into a 10-minute defense, desperately listing facts to prove your competence. The new you simply smiles a calm, detached smile and lets the disrespectful comment hang in the empty air. If you feel that you must speak, you say something entirely unbothered, such as, "I prefer not to explain myself to noise." This is the psychological equivalent of closing a heavy steel door right in their face. Noise is chaotic, random, and meaningless. Your reason is calm, steady, and deliberate. You do not owe a logical explanation to irrational noise. When you absolutely refuse to be dragged down to their level, you actively practice the highest Stoic ideal of mental sovereignty. The ancient philosopher Epictetus taught that if you want to be a beautiful person, you must make your daily choices beautiful. Arguing with someone who is firmly committed to misunderstanding you is an ugly, destructive process. It drains your valuable energy and severely lowers your personal standards. By choosing not to compete, you save your emotional currency for things that actually matter, like your personal growth and your true purpose. The person who insulted you is left standing alone in the ring, throwing aggressive punches at the empty air. They will feel confused and deeply uncomfortable because they completely underestimated your unshakable self-control. They expected a frantic emotional reaction, but instead, they encountered a solid wall of serene indifference. You have proven that true human brilliance is never found in winning a loud shouting match, but in possessing the quiet strength to walk away from the battle entirely untouched. Now that you have detached from their need for validation and evicted their toxic energy from your mind, you enter a realm where their words sound like absolute static. Imagine you are standing in line at a local coffee shop, minding your own business, and someone tries to belittle your career choice or your lifestyle just to make themselves feel 10 feet tall. The old you would have stepped into the ring and fought back. The new you realizes that stepping into the ring is a massive downgrade. You use the ultimate phrase of detachment and simply state, "I do not compete in that category." This is not an arrogant dismissal. It is a profound realization that you do not measure your worth by their twisted metrics. You have not come to this place to win insignificant disagreements or to defend your brilliance against someone who is deeply insecure. You are operating on an entirely different level, characterized by rationality, clarity, and inner composure. In a culture that is absolutely obsessed with outrage, where people constantly use their feelings as weapons to manipulate your reality, you must learn to build a strict boundary of objective truth. If a toxic manager or a dramatic friend tries to drag you into a 90-minute argument based entirely on their subjective emotions and vague accusations, you look at them and calmly say, "Let us stay on facts, not feelings." By doing this, you demand accountability and clarity. You refuse to let your mental fortress be hijacked by their emotional chaos. Emotional manipulation simply cannot compete with cold, hard data. 2,000 years ago, Epictetus taught that if someone speaks ill of you, you should not make defensive excuses, but simply realize they do not know you well enough. When the attacker continues to push, hoping to find a crack in your massive steel wall, you deploy the final and most devastating technique. You look at them with a composed and authoritative tone and say, "I prefer not to explain myself to noise." Then, you simply walk away. You leave with your dignity completely unharmed, your thoughts entirely unaffected, and your presence commanding absolute respect. You show them that self-control is far more amazing than any verbal victory, and that genuine power is restraint. Every time you refuse to engage with chaos, you preserve your mental energy for the things that actually matter. Your silence and your composure become an impenetrable shield. The world might throw 100 pounds of negativity at you every single day, but it bounces right off because you understand that controlling your tongue is exactly the same as controlling your mind. You are the ultimate master of your reality, and their desperate noise can never reach you. As you continue to master the art of walking away from meaningless noise, you will inevitably encounter individuals who simply cannot let it go. They are the people who live to judge, criticize, and impose their unsolicited opinions on your lifestyle, your career, or your personal choices. They desperately want to control how you see yourself, wrapping their malice in a fake layer of concern or constructive criticism. When they realize that their emotional manipulation and loud demands for your attention have failed, they will often resort to direct judgment, hoping to strike a final blow to your confidence. The reactive mind would immediately turn around, feeling a sudden urge to justify its actions, provide a long list of evidence, or beg for validation. But you have built a stoic fortress, and you know that the uninformed judgments of others are completely irrelevant to your objective reality. When they push their unwanted opinions on you, you simply deploy a phrase of absolute detachment. You look them in the eye and calmly say, "Believe what you want. My life will not change." This response is deceptively simple, yet it carries an incredible psychological weight. By uttering these exact words, you are drawing an impenetrable boundary. You are effectively telling them that their subjective judgment belongs entirely to them, and you refuse to grant it any authority over your actions or your inner peace. In modern society, many people might view this level of detachment as arrogant or dismissive. They might argue that you should care about what other people think. But the Stoic philosophy flips this misunderstanding into your greatest strength. It is not about being cold or lacking empathy. It is about relentlessly prioritizing your focus and your mental clarity over the misplaced insecurities of someone else. When you say that your life will not change, you strip them of the very power they were trying to steal. The person judging you might continue their rant. They might complain to others, but their words will bounce off your armor because you have refused to internalize their negativity. You have demonstrated that your choices are yours alone, and your peace is not contingent upon their approval. Psychologically, this neutralizes the attacker completely. People who criticize others almost always do so to assert dominance and provoke a defensive reaction. When you respond with total indifference, you deny them the emotional fuel they crave, leaving them frustrated and exposed in their own immaturity. You reassert your complete autonomy in a world that is obsessed with seeking permission. The next time someone attempts to control your narrative with their harsh judgments, remember that their words are just empty echoes. Let them believe whatever false reality comforts them. You simply keep walking forward, knowing that nothing can harm your trajectory when you absolutely refuse to react. As you reach this ultimate level of psychological detachment, you will inevitably face the final weapon of the toxic manipulator, which is the pressure of the ultimatum. When they realize that their insults, their judgments, and their emotional outbursts cannot penetrate your mental fortress, they will often try to corner you. They will attempt to force you into making a choice that benefits them, using guilt, shame, or the threat of abandoning you. They might tell you that if you do not do things their way, there will be severe consequences for your relationship or your professional standing. The reactive mind would feel cornered, anxious, and desperate to negotiate or compromise just to keep the peace. But you have been training your mind for exactly this moment. You look at them with complete serenity and you deliver the final Stoic comeback, which is simply to say, do what you think is best. I am fine either way. At first glance, this might seem like a passive response or a sign of apathy, but in the realm of Stoic psychology, it is the absolute peak of quiet power. You are not avoiding responsibility. You are actively choosing not to spend your valuable energy on coercion or conflict. By telling them that you are fine either way, you completely neutralize their emotional leverage. They wanted to provoke worry, fear, or a frantic desire to please them. But your calm indifference exposes their tactics and leaves them utterly powerless. You are demonstrating that your internal peace is never contingent upon their external choices. This is the essence of true freedom. In a modern society that is constantly demanding your emotional reaction, your anxiety, and your outrage, choosing to remain unaffected is the ultimate display of dominance. When you refuse to be manipulated, the power dynamic shifts permanently. You must understand that the people who try to bring you down are fundamentally fighting a war against themselves. Their aggression is merely a symptom of their own inner chaos, and they desperately need you to participate in that chaos so they do not have to feel alone in their misery. But you do not have to accept that invitation. You do not compete in that category. You have built a life founded on discipline, logic, and self-respect. You know that true strength is never loud, it is never reactive, and it never has to prove itself to anyone who is committed to misunderstanding you. As you walk forward from this day on, remember that your mind is an unshakable empire. You are untouched by the noise, the envy, and the petty games of the world around you. Master yourself first, and the world will naturally respond to your strength. In the face of any storm, your calm will always remain your ultimate weapon. True power is not loud, reactive, or emotional. True power is quiet, composed, and absolutely untouchable. The next time someone tries to project their own internal chaos onto you, remember that your mind is an impenetrable fortress. You have the ultimate choice to leave the heavy iron gates firmly closed. Master yourself first, and the world will naturally respond to your unbreakable strength. If this Stoic perspective shifted something for you today, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more lessons on building an unshakable mind. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and always remember, your calm is your ultimate weapon. See you next video.